tucked away in the Shenandoah Valley, Harrisonburg, Virginia, home to James Madison, father of the Constitution, and mother of some of the most electric crowds in all of college football when they come out to support the Dukes. We've got a terrific matchup for you today, rich in pageantry and tradition, and it ought to be a fantastic clash. As we'll see a squad from the back, the Stanford Cardinal, taking on a team from the Mountain West, the James Madison Dukes. For EA Sports College Football, I'm Reese Davis, David Pollack, Jesse Palmer alongside. Guys, we can't wait to see this game. Been looking forward to it all week. And the Dukes will put total leather and we'll get started. And he takes this from inside the 5. Couldn't find a way to create that broken field as he stopped at the 25. The defense going to stop the clock with a timeout. They want to make sure they have everybody on the same page. Looking for a gap. It's St. Clair. Out across the 30 mark, down at the 35 after the 10-yard gain.
When you go on the road, man, oh man, do you love hearing the crowd. But more importantly, you love shutting the crowd up. There's no better feeling than coming out, getting that juice going, getting that confidence going, and getting that running game going right at them and gashing them right out the gates.
Right back to the well. This time the defense was ready, and they stop him in his tracks.
Defense is about firing off, getting the offensive guys and staying in your gaps, everybody knowing where they're supposed to be. You could tell the defense, everyone was right where they're supposed to be, nowhere to run.
They got nothing on the last play. It's 2nd and 10. Dropping back, it's Sayin. Throws to the back. Using the quick game. They make the stop, but he'll have enough yardage for a first down.
And a great job by the QB, finding the running back, getting the football where he can do some damage after the catch, and most importantly, get the first down.
Stanford going back to work with another first down. To the ground with the back. He's going to lose a yard on that one.
Well, they're trying to get that run play going to the outside, but it's the defensive end who does a great job winning his one-on-one and forcing the negative play.
Lost one on that last one. It's 2nd and 11. Back to pass. Got him downfield. They'll finally drag him down, but not before he gets it to the 40, and it's a first down.
And first down for the offense.
Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. From the gun, the running back tries to hit the hole. You'll take 4 yards on first down every time, 2nd and 6.
And I kind of like how the running back didn't mess around. Like, just get downhill when you see an opening. A lot of times they close so fast, man. Be decisive, stick your foot in the ground, pick up 3 to 4, and we are not going to complain.
Going to swing it on 2nd down. Not able to hook up there, incomplete. Here comes the 7th play of this opening drive. They've moved it well, but now facing 3rd down. Wants to throw. It's Sayin. Quickly complete. Moving deeper into enemy territory. Move the chains. It's first down at the 27.
And had they not picked up that first down, it would have been decision time for the head coach, right? You're kind of in no man's land on the fridge. Are you trying a long field goal? Are you going for it on fourth down? But because of the execution there and the nice throw, let's keep this drive going. Let's see if we can get 6.
Now on 1st and 10 from the 27. The give to the tailback. Defense holds their ground, pickup of a yard. It's at the 26.
And you want to run the football. That's okay. You'll take some of these. But if they start to add up down the road, obviously you might want to think about airing it out a little bit.
Didn't get much on first down. It's 2nd and 9. Wants to go up top. Fires to the wideout. He's got an open man. And he will score. The question now, will it count as we check out the laundry on the field? And oh, that one hurts to have the flag come out and take a touchdown off the board after that play. They're close enough for a makeable field goal from the 26, but they'd love to convert this 3rd and long. Looking down the middle. Intercepted, and the first drive ends with a pick. Got room on the return. The 50, the 40, the 30. They finally make the stop, and not only the huge turnover, but the big return has them set up in business.
This quarterback was having success throwing on the opening drive of the game, in large part because it's a lot harder to throw on 3rd down when the defense is expecting it, like you saw right there. They were ready, had a really good coverage call, and they get the INT.
And the offense suddenly with an opportunity it couldn't have expected with a 1st and goal after the pick. He works his way all the way down to the 3, and the defense is reeling.
This offense is perfectly fine with a little gain because they're going to make you tackle this all game long. They're going to make you think all game long. So they'll keep running it ad nauseum and just wait for that one opportunity when you don't do your assignment.
They've got it down to the 3. Now it's 2nd and goal. Running play to the left, looking for the end zone here. And he takes it in for the score. Touchdown, Dukes. The offense did exactly what it needed to do, getting the ball in field position like that.
It's that killer mentality. You step on their throat, you keep your foot down. When you get opportunities like that, they are golden chances to put touchdowns on the board. The offense took care of business.
Here he comes from inside his own 5. Really disciplined job by the coverage unit to get down there and make the stop at the 19. This drive will start from the 19-yard line. The hand to the running back. Breaks into the open. They get this sophomore on the ground, but he continues to make plays.
It's so nice as an offense to know you can generate explosive plays by handing the football off to this guy. He has got incredible speed.
So much for the tough field position. One play, and you're already to the 35. Intercepted. A first-half turnover can swing momentum.
Man, another mistake by this. Listen, he is an elite quarterback. He's really, really good. He's pressing too much. Jesse, the #1 job of a quarterback, you better protect the football. I don't care how good you are, you better protect it.
Yeah, you just got to take what the defense is giving you, and I agree, David. It looks like right now he's trying to force the big play instead of just checking it down or throwing away. He's got to do a better job working through his progressions right now. He's got tons of talent, but he's making bad decisions.
And we've already seen this movie early in this football game, and he already has a touchdown, and they're seeking him again. And there's a reason. He can run, right? Like, he's one of their go-to guys on the outside, and you can tell they're trying to use him early and often in this offense.
What will they dial up on 2nd and a long way to go? He wants to change this route. To the air. It's good. This time it's complete. All the way down to the 25-yard line. They move the sticks. It's 1st down.
All right, defense, you got to turn the page. Just gave up an explosive play through the air, but here comes the offense going quickly. You got to get lined up now and get ready for another one.
And they'll bring him to the ground after a short gain.
You know, I really like this QB running the football because I know he's got a lot of speed, but he's not the biggest guy in the world. So he's not going to be able to break a lot of tackles. You really got to do a good job of trying to scheme ways to get him out in more space.
Behind the chains now on 2nd and long. He'll take it himself. Really nice run there. Good, solid pickup, and they'll move the sticks for the first down.
You know, we talk about quarterbacks having to make quick decisions, and I think you saw it on that play. Nobody opened downfield, and he just decided to take off.
The Dukes are moving quickly down the field. Back in motion, trying to clear the picture. Trying to turn the corner on the left. They get him on the ground at the 3-yard line, but this defense is taking some punches. Guys, it's James Madison on top as we've come to the end of the quarter. We've put one in the books. Let's have a look at our game summary. Now to see if these guys can get back in the game in the second quarter. Going to work in the red zone, they can pick up the first down without getting it into the end zone. On the option. And he is stopped, not getting close to the end zone. Line of scrimmage still at the 3.
And that just looked off. The timing, the rhythm, I don't know what it was, but usually that option, man, it's so precise, right? Like really quickly making a read, and you could tell they weren't on the same page. It went absolutely nowhere. Defense won that rep.
They thought they could just run it on 3rd and short, but this defense was there to make the stop. Now on 4th down, they'll try to come away with 3. From the left hash, this one shouldn't be too much trouble. Just drives it between the uprights. And that lead grows even bigger. And let's check in with Kevin Connors in the studio. Kevin?
Fellas, it's hit triple zeros in a captivating game today in the American. Duke answered the bell away from Duke.
And he loses the football. It's recovered by the kicking team, and they get the ball right back.
Kick returners usually have to have that home run ability, the ability to take it to the house 100-plus yards. It's also a tough skill because you've got all these guys flying down the field so fast. Sometimes you get a big hit and ball security becomes an issue.
James Madison sends the offense back onto the field. Had to settle for the chip shot field goal last time, Jesse. They'd love for this one to pay off bigger.
Yeah, it just comes down to execution, too. Did a nice job out in the field, stalled a little bit once they got down to the goal line, so they just need to be a little bit more crisp here, dude.
Yeah, and listen, I think the first part was the most important part. You got to put the drive together first to get down there. Now, when we get down there, focus on execution and getting 6 points.
Back to throw. It's good. Zings it complete to the right. He'll be brought down at the 3-yard line. An explosive play in the passing game has him on the doorstep.
And that's why if you're the offensive coordinator, you've got to find as many ways as possible to get this guy going. Just get him the ball close to the line of scrimmage. Doesn't need to be a throw deep down the field. He's so dynamic when he has the ball in his hands. You saw it right there.
And the Dukes trying to get a touchdown on 1st and goal. And how about that play by that giant, that mountain of a man on the defensive front?
Defensively, man, I play so much more man coverage when it gets down near the red zone, down inside the 20-yard line, this area of the field. I got less space to cover. I don't have to worry about them running way down the field really deep, but I do have to worry about them finding ways to get wide receivers, tight ends, speed the ball on the perimeter. Defense was ready for it. Pretty good job by the defense.
Can the defense stop them again on 2nd and goal? The offense changing the play. He works his way ever closer all the way down to the 1-yard line.
Well, he gets tackled down at the 1-yard line, so offensively, do you feel confident enough on third here trying to hand it off again?
Yeah, and I'm taking both these downs, and I'm coming downhill. I'm running the football, trying to get this in the end zone. I only got a yard to go. I got to be physical.
They'd love to make this short field pay off with a touchdown instead of settling for 3, but it is 3rd and goal. Absolutely nowhere to go as this defense makes a 3rd down stop.
On the play.
Second quarter might not be gamble time, but inside the 3, Palmer, I've got the green light. I'm going for this.
I am too, and you're essentially running a 2-point play here, right? You've got a play you've practiced all week long. That's the play you dial up right here.
And for the second time tonight, they'll trot out the field goal kicker. Didn't make him sweat at all. It's good. And they'll push that lead out a little further.
Well, the head coach decided to play it safe on 4th and inches and trot his field goal team out there, and his field goal kicker just made him look like a pretty smart guy.
Nice job executing all of the assignments as they put a stop to that return at the 22. The Stanford offense making its way back onto the field. They really need to find a way to generate some offense here, having fallen behind 13-zip. And this will be incomplete. A big hit there forces 2nd down.
And that can be frustrating to watch running backs not make plays like a receiver, but they're not a receiver. And a lot of times when they have the guys around them, the focus that receivers have it doesn't exist in them. And you can tell just dropped the football, lost a little bit of focus, but I think those footsteps were close enough when he hurt him.
Well, the defense just did the quarterback a massive favor. That's the nicest thing they've done to him all game. They've already picked him off twice. That should have been number 3.
Stanford to the line on 3rd and long. To the air, it's Sayin. He makes the grab. He's going to come up a couple of yards short of the 1st down. Referee signals timeout. It's the defense wanting to make sure that they have everything just right with a big play coming. The Cardinal will have to boot it away. First time we've seen their punt team tonight. Wants to bring it back. They'll get down and put a stop to this return. They'll mark it at the 32. Guys, James Madison ready to go back on the attack. Always good to get points on a drive, David, but chip shot field goals can leave you a little empty.
And I think it's great to get points, but the great teams get touchdowns in the red area. You got to get out there this time and execute a little better on this drive.
You're absolutely right, David. And generally, the best red zone offenses are the ones that run the ball the best. So let's see if they can be a little bit more physical on this drive.
The Dukes can play this 2nd down a lot of ways with just a few yards to go. Sends it back in motion. Back to pass on 2nd down. Throwing on the run. Got it in stride inside the 20. What a play to get it inside the red zone, and they are set up at the 17.
And, man, he had nobody around him. That has got to be embarrassing for this defense. When you let someone that deep downfield go completely uncovered.
This offense thrives on those big, explosive plays, and that one has them set up with a 1st and 10 from the 17. And he's brought down after a nice gain.
This running back is so dynamic, and you've got to be able to take advantage of his speed by getting him to the outside. So that's why you dial up the toss play there. It's a nice way to change it up and get this guy in space to go make plays.
We're at the 2-minute timeout. They've built a big lead, and they'll try to pile on a little more before the break. They've really got this offense humming. Just a 4th play of the drive, and it's 1st and goal.
Here we go.
He'll ride his man on the option. He works his way all the way down to the 3, and the defense is reeling.
It's a veteran defense. They've seen option before. They were prepared to see it in this game, and you're seeing it on that play right there. Everybody doing a great job with assignment football, staying in their gaps, accounting.
Looking for the end zone. And he's on his way. He'll go all the way. Touchdown, James Madison.
One thing this team has shown early this year, it does not take them long to find their footing. They get off to fast starts. That was critical for them, winning their first game, and you've seen it here in this one too. They show up ready to go. There's no sleepwalking. I think you got to give this coaching staff a ton of credit for putting their players in good positions to have success.
Makes a move. He's on the loose. There he goes. Open it up. Just barely able to keep him from housing it on that one. What a nice return. This dude is absolute electricity when he gets the ball in his hands. Plenty of time to work, not any time to waste as they take over here in the final 2 minutes of the half. Back to throw, it's Sayin. Quarterback moving out of the pocket. Rush coming in hot, and they got him at the 29.
I love the defensive effort there. They didn't get him right away. They stayed after him. He was scrambling, going backwards. They get the sack on the first play of the drive.
The Cardinal increasing the degree of difficulty after that last play. It's 2nd and long. They'll send the back in motion. Wants to fire on 2nd down. Nowhere close on that one as he got drilled trying to deliver the football, and now they face 3rd down.
And I think a big reason this offense is struggling right now and why they're trailing on the scoreboard is they have not been able to protect this guy, and it's affected him. He has not looked very accurate. Moving forward, the pass pro has got to be better to help this guy out.
Stanford comes to the line, and that 1st down marker is a long way away. On 3rd and long, no secret what he needs here. He makes a catch. They make the stop at the 5-yard line, and they've got it 1st and goal.
Well, I think on that play you saw why this guy's such a big weapon in this offense. At receiver, he does such a nice job with his routes. He's patient, and he's consistent, and he's got good hands. You don't see him put a lot of balls on the ground. Nice job there picking up the 1st down.
They'll try to get it in with the run. Into the end zone he goes. Touchdown, Stanford!
Well, needless to say, they needed that touchdown. They're down by a lot of points here in this game, and finally something goes right for them offensively. They put the drive together. They score here at the end of the first half. Now, in the second half, they need a lot more of this, and they're going to have to go tempo. They're going to have to stay aggressive, but maybe this gives them the confidence they need to stage a comeback. We'll see.
Kickoff unit is out there, and boy, did that last drive quiet this crowd. And it'll be a touchback. The ball will come out to the 25-yard line. This late in the half, here's the question. How aggressive will the play calling be? Some early movement along the offensive line, and they'll walk it back. The officials offer the deal, and the coach accepts it. They will take the penalty. Back to pass, it's good. Moving away from pressure. Takes a shot as he lets it go. And they can't make the connection, going for a big play on first down.
Well, the offense is doing their best to try and at least get into field goal range here at the end of the first half. So they take a vertical shot down the field, but give the defense credit. Lots of eyes back there on the quarterback. They're able to break on the ball and make sure that throw falls incomplete.
Good little pickup there as he saw some daylight and got what he could. We got a timeout here late in the first half, and they'll try to get more points on the board before the break. Probably the toughest call on the play sheet. 3rd and long. Ball's at the 25. From the gun, wants to pass. Shoots it to the left. And they'll miss the connection here on 3rd down.
Every defense in the country talks about getting offenses in predictable 3rd and long situations where I can bring on more speedsters and I know the pass is coming so I can have more success.
Snap coming before halftime. Looking downfield on first down. Throws toward the end zone. And here's the 3rd interception of the night. Got some room to run. He's at the 40. Running inside. Oh, it's out. It's very fortunate to get that ball back. That's going to wrap up the first half here, and now we join Kevin with the halftime update. Stanford set to boot it deep to start this second half. And he's coming out of the end zone. He's brought down at the 16. Would have been much better off to take the touchback. James Madison sends the offense back onto the field. Gets the back moving. First play from scrimmage here in the second half, and they'll keep it on the ground. They'll knock him down for a loss of a couple.
And if this defense wants to get back in the football game, they've got to match the physicality of this offense. And that's a great start here in the second half. Like coming out, not letting them run the football, being the more physical and more aggressive team.
The pitch. And he never had a chance. Just stopped cold as soon as he got it.
And I think that time the quarterback made the wrong read. He was trying to pitch it. He didn't have to, though. There was a lot of green grass and space out in front of him. If he just holds on to that football, he might not score a touchdown, but he's definitely going to be able to at least get positive yards. I think that's a play on the option. The quarterback.
He tosses one high and deep down the left side. Oh, he had it. The deep ball was there, and it just trickled through his fingers.
This quarterback has been struggling to find a rhythm in this game so far. Didn't have a ton of success in the first half, so here he is trying to ignite the offense with a deep shot, but they're not able to come away with the completion.
And the Dukes will send out the punt unit. 3 and out, and not much choice but to get rid of the ball. Makes the catch right at the 50. Stanford has it back. The Cardinal offense returning to the field. Back to throw. It's Sayin. finds the tight end. And he'll step across the sidelines after making a good gain on that one.
It's important on offense to get the tight ends involved in the passing game. These are big fellas that can run. This guy's a big target, so nice job on that play.
Looking to fire. Got it in the middle. It's Blackburn.
Well, the tight end shows off his speed. See his ability there to separate from the defender trying to cover him on that drag route.
And that's a first down.
Now on first down from the 40. Wants to go up top on first down. And he throws down the gut of the defense. It's incomplete.
And I tell you what, I know it's little when these QBs miss and the ball's not right to them, but man, it makes such a difference with yards after the catch, and in this case, even catching the football. It was just a little bit off, and it just made it a little bit difficult for his wide receiver to try to make the catch.
And a good, solid pickup there before the defense knocks him down.
Listen, you got to be able to know what play to call and what hole to go through. Like the line blocks for a certain hole. Good job getting through the hole, getting what was blocked, getting a nice positive gain, making your situation really good on the next down.
This quarterback part of their running game. And boy, is he close to that first down, maybe just a couple of inches short.
Not able to pick up that first down, David, but if I'm them, I'm going again right here on fourth.
Man, I think you knew that on 3rd and 2, short yard situation. You got it close to 4th and inches. Now we're going to get this first down.
They knock him down, but he gets enough to give Stanford a first down.
And I don't know if field position really matters on that one, right? I know they're on the plus side of the territory, but 4th and inches, most offenses today are going to be going for it. They did. They execute the running play, and they keep the sticks moving.
To the air, it's Sayin. And it's incomplete. If you're going to take a hit like that, you might as well hang on to the ball.
And the big tight end, a lot of times that's a bigger strike zone, a bigger dude, and you could tell they put the hit on him, and that ball came out, and it came to the turf. Nice job playing physical by this defense.
They're dealing with a 2nd and long. Back to pass. Unloads to the wideout. A strike downfield. They bring him down, but he's got a 1st and goal from the 10.
And I think this receiver's forte is his route running. He's a guy that can line up all over the field, but it's not just catching post routes and goes. This guy can run shallows, he can run slants, he can run the option routes and find soft spots in the defense. This guy really has all the routes in his toolbox.
He's brought down at the 7-yard line, and they are threatening to take it in.
Brings up 2nd and goal.
Defense rose up deep in its own end on that last play. Now a 2nd and long coming. Wants to go up top. Fires into the end zone. Touchdown, Cardinal. The offense cashing it in on that drive.
Number 84, hauls it in the end zone.
PAT unit on the field. And the PAT will draw them 1 point closer. Let's go to the studio now and check in with Kevin Connors. Kevin, what do you got?
Guys, let's get you up to speed on what's going down in this fun college football game today. Miami is in front. They've led for most of the way. However, Sebastian isn't exactly putting this one in the win column just yet. They're up by 10 over Troy. We promise to keep you posted on what goes down in this exciting college football matchup.
Thanks for the update on that one, Kevin. Let us know when it goes final. On the option. Finds that crease, and he's got 4 out to the 29.
Playing the option, man. Consistently playing responsibility football. Nice job by the defense being where they're supposed to be. This option will just keep giving it to you over and over and over again, and you got to pass those tests.
Dropping back. It's good. Release to the back. Working that left side now. And the big gain, and they've got it on the 46.
I like the running back there on the route and the patience he showed, really setting it up. Got to the defender, he was able to put his foot in the ground, get some separation, catch it, and turn upfield for the first.
The offense setting up shop at the 46, 1st and 10. Steps away to find some room. And this one's not working. He'll just throw it away.
Know the situation, know the game of football, right? When I start to get outside the pocket, I don't see anything there. I can throw the ball away. I don't have to take a sack, get a lost yardage play. I can just throw the ball out of bounds as long as it passes the line of scrimmage. We go on to the next down. No harm, no foul.
The ball carried by the quarterback. Gain of 4. 3rd down coming up.
They have work in front of them on 3rd and short from the 42. Might be changing the route. Shotgun snap on 3rd down. Throws to the tight end. Got his man downfield. They get him stopped, but the big gain has them on the doorstep. Let's mark it at the 13.
Well, how about the offense setting that play up? We've seen earlier in the game a couple shorter throws. They're just trying to suck those safeties closer to the line of scrimmage, anticipating that they would get an opportunity to take a shot. They called the perfect play at the perfect time right there.
Gets it to the back. And to the end zone. He stopped just short of the goal line, but they'll have it 1st and goal from the 1.
Nice job by the running back catching the football and understanding where the 1st down marker was. I got to go get that 1st down. He did a nice job of it.
The Dukes trying to pay off the threat on 1st and goal. They want to run this quarterback. And he'll step into the end zone. Touchdown, Dukes!
This guy just has a nose for the end zone, and you love his ability to find creases, use his speed in the open field, and go score. He's been really good for his offense early this year. That already his 5th rushing touchdown on the season.
Looking for the 2-point try. He's got the 2-point conversion, and they build on that lead. Kickoff unit on the field, and this defense will be called on to protect this lead. He'll start the return inside his 5. Really disciplined job by the coverage unit to get down there and make the stop at the 19. So they start this drive from inside their own 20 at the 19-yard line. To throw, it's Sayin. Get it out on the screen. Turning it on. The 40. At the 30. He's at the 10. And he eluded the defense, and he'll take it all the way. Touchdown, Stanford!
Man, how hard is it to defend when you have a weapon like this at running back that can play wide receiver? You can design ways to get the football in his hand. Palmer, once you get it in his hands, he'll do the rest.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and oftentimes those are easier throws for quarterbacks. These running backs, they're just naturally so good when they have the football out in space. Their vision, their creativity, their ability to make people miss. And this guy showed you right there, a difficult guy to stop now if you're this defense moving forward.
He was looking for some running room, but not much to be found as he stopped at the 18. They'll start this drive from the 18-yard line. Running back searching for a hole. Didn't get much done on that run. He'll fight his way out and maybe pick up a yard.
Awesome job up front by this defensive line, being so good at the point of attack and eating blocks, eating some double teams that allows these linebackers to run free, unencumbered, and get to the football.
Just missed on the connection, incomplete.
When you talk about versatility at the running back spot, you got to talk about this guy in the conversation. He already has caught a touchdown on this one. They're still trying to throw him the football. That one goes incomplete, but I would keep this up if I'm on offense.
Now facing a 3rd and long. From the gun, wants to pass. Throws to the wideout. Finds a man on the right. And with that effort, they pick up a fresh set of downs. They have it at the 34-yard line. And the Dukes will snap it on 1st and 10. We've come to the break, and James Madison is on top. They've built a cushion. They've got a nice lead. Now the task is finish the deal as you take a look at the third quarter stats.
21.
One more period to go to see who can make the winning plays and come home with the victory. So first down, we'll open up the final period. Reading the option, it's good. And he is stopped immediately by the big defensive lineman.
Phenomenal job by the defense that time, shutting down the option play. They knew they were going to see this in this game, and all week long in practice, they really focused on this assignment football, making sure the dive, the quarterback, the pitch, all taken away. Nowhere to go with the football that time offensively. The defense coming up with a huge negative play.
Nice job by this defense playing assignment football. Somebody has to have the quarterback, somebody has to have the pitch, and most importantly, when you get there, you've got to get him on the ground. Nice job tackling by this defense.
Scanning the field, it's good. Trying to make magic on the scramble. He gets it up to the 37-yard line, and let's see if they're willing to gamble on 4th down.
Offense facing.
You know, you hear the term nickel so much. Most people stay in nickel most of the time because of all the speed in college football and the running quarterback, and you see why it pays dividends. More speed on the field when the QB does take off to go get him on the ground and force a 4th down.
The Stanford offense making its way back onto the field. They torched this defense with an explosive passing play for a score last time out. Let's see if... There he goes! Made a defender miss. Inside the 50. The 30. The 20. 10. Touchdown, Cardinal! He got loose, and it was lights out after that.
Man, this guy is such a weapon because he's so dangerous if he gets into the second level. Great vision, and then David shows you the speed.
Just straight wheels, erasing angles. A lot of times when you're chasing guys that are so fast like this, you're like, I got him, I got him. No, I do not. What a big, long touchdown run. Pad those stats, young fella.
Setting up for the extra point and the tie. And that extra point was good, and we are deadlocked here in the 4th. That one's going to get a little star marked beside it on the play sheet. One play, explosive, touchdown just like that. Out of the end zone. He stopped short of the 20 at the 19 and probably wishes he'd just taken the touchback.
Take over. 1st and 10.
Guys, James Madison ready to go back on the attack. Another opportunity here. They had to punt it on their last possession, but this time tight game, hoping to get something on the board. He fires a bullet to the right. Pulls it in down the sideline. He's brought down, but there's a flag on the play. Let's see if it stands. The big gain on offense, and the play will stand. The offense declines the penalty. A costly penalty for this defense gives them a 1st and 10. They'll run the option.
And that run really didn't go anywhere. And a lot of times we don't focus on it enough. But how important those 5 guys are up front. To get on those defensive linemen, to try to move them out of the way, to get a run game going, it squarely falls on the shoulder of those 5 offensive linemen.
He might want another play. Trying to get the corner. Defense there to make the stop after a pickup of 2 to the 30.
3rd down coming up.
coming to the line of scrimmage at the 30. It would be a long field goal, but they'd love to pick up a few here on 3rd and long. Throwing right. Wide open downfield. They make the tackle, but he's got a fresh set of downs, and it's 1st and goal from the 7.
Really nice job there at the quarterback. Reading coverage, he knew exactly where to go with the football and at what exact time. The timing could not have been better. They get the completion on 3rd down, setting up 1st and goal.
Now the toss. He's going for the goal line. Touchdown, James Madison. And they grab the advantage, taking the lead here in the 4th.
Great job by the running back scoring on that pitch play off the option. It wasn't easy. He had to make somebody miss and do some dirty work there down inside the 10-yard line, but nice individual effort.
And he knocks the extra point through the uprights. They're set to kick it off. You think this crowd's going to get loud when their defense comes on the field? He'll bring it back from inside his 5. He was looking for more running room, but none to be found as he stopped at the 23. Stanford has it back. The Cardinal offense returning to the field. Then that last drive, if you want to call it that, was efficient. One big run for a score. David, see if they can do it. Continues to fight for yards. That one could really put this drive into high gear as they have a 1st down at the 37.
That receiver found the open space in the zone coverage, and as a defense, honestly, you just throw your hands up on that because they covered it pretty well. It was just a good play call and really nice execution.
They've got it at the 37. It's 1st and 10. Slithers into space. Breaks into the open. And a nice pickup on the run and gets down to avoid contact.
And, dude, when you got a guy like this that can just hit the gas and go pick up 15-plus yards, what a luxury. How nice is it to have a quarterback like that when I'm a tailback, when I can send the tailback one direction, quarterback the other direction. This guy's just got so much speed.
In search of that tying touchdown. They've moved the chains a couple of times. It's 1st and 10 again. Looking for a physical attack from the gun. That is a big win for this defense as they were right there as soon as he got the ball.
Well, there was just nowhere to go for the runner on that last play. Just way too much penetration up front, and as a result, they lose yardage.
The Cardinal increasing the degree of difficulty after that last play. It's 2nd and long. Quarterback just flat missed it. Incomplete. Cardinal will have to come up with a huge play to keep this drive going on 3rd down. Dropping back, it's Sayin. Right down the middle. Another incompletion on 3rd down.
I want to give a shout out to the defense there on 3rd down, doing a really nice job disguising their coverage because it looked like they confused the quarterback on 3rd down. Really nice job getting back into that zone and making sure that ball falls incomplete.
Trailing by a possession, they need to keep the ball. They'll try to convert on 4th down. Looking to the big tight end. And he throws another interception, his 3rd of the night. Finally brought down, but what a play, not only to get the football, but to flip the field position with the return.
And that is a backbreaker. It's 4th down, though. Listen, you got to throw the football. You got to try to make a play, but the defense came up big in a big moment.
James Madison sends the offense back onto the field. Man, what a drive that was the last time they had it. Basically the length of the field. And the quarterback runs out of time, and down he goes at the 38.
Man, a lot of coaches talk about starting the drive positive and a first play that can get you going. The QB just kept backing up and going backwards, and that is not the start to the drive they were looking for.
The Dukes trying to find their way forward after the big loss on the last play. Motion from the back. 2nd down, they'll go to the air. Rolling, throwing, looking right.
Love the coverage on the back end by the defense on that play. In these scramble-type situations, the quarterback's rolling out to his right. Everything breaks down, and it really gets hard on these defenders to have to stay with their man, but a good job there by the defense.
Certain moments in the game you know are just a little bit bigger. Here's one of them. Big play coming on 3rd and long. He's going to throw deep right side. Snags it inside the 20. Ripped off a huge chunk play on that one as he gets the first down before he steps out of bounds.
Nice job executing the 4-minute offense. You know, they practiced this throughout the week, having a lead late in the game, running plays to just get enough to get first downs to stay on the field, and they are executing this 4-minute offense to perfection.
And the Dukes have it with a 1st and 10. Here comes the option. He'll pitch it. Got enough space. Touchdown, Dukes. Excellent pass by the back on the option.
And that is a drive and a score they absolutely had to have. Now making it a 2-possession game late in this one. It wasn't going to be enough to just play it safe, play it conservative, punt the ball away, and count on your defense. They were aggressive. They mixed it up. Getting that score, that is huge for their win probability now.
They'll try to add another to their lead. And they add the extra point to finish the drive. And for a quick update, let's go to Kevin Connors in the studio.
Fellas, we don't get a ton of top 5 matchups, so let's check out how today's Rumble played out. Alabama rolled to victory, flexing an offensive muscle that almost reminded folks of the record-setting team led by Mac Jones, Najee Harris, and Devontae Smith. Each week in college football, the tests are just so tough, although nothing compares to a top 5 duel. A revealing outcome with massive implications, men.
And Kevin Connors keeping an eye on everything all over the country. Sounds like they had a good one there. They'd love to put a long drive together here as they start from their own 21. Looking to throw, it's Sayin. Fires to the middle. Oh, he drops the football. He had it right down the gut of the field. Instead, it'll be 2nd down.
Well, this has been a day to forget if you're this quarterback. And I got to be honest, guys, I'm surprised he's still even in the game right now because he has had 0 rhythm. He hasn't been accurate. He's thrown a ton of interceptions. Most coaches would have pulled their guy by now. I know the guy I played for back in college.
Unloads it downfield. He's got it on the left. And they don't drag him down until he gets all the way to the 46-yard line. Clock stops momentarily for the 1st down. They'll hurry to the line. Off play action on 1st down. Oh, he loves to fire downfield. For the 4th time tonight, it's an interception. Takes it back to the 24-yard line, and this defense loves to feast on takeaways.
Well, man, we've seen explosive offensive firepower all game long, and here we are late in an obvious passing situation trying to get this thing close. The big INT, finally the defense makes a play, and David, it looks like they just closed the door on this one.
Well, and you know, Mr. Quarterback, defense wins championships. And how do you seal a game? The defense coming up with a big moment. Yes, obvious passing situation. You know they're going to throw it. The big INT, and that might seal their fate.
Moves up to the 34-yard line, give him a 10-yard pickup.
This quarterback is making outstanding decisions so far in this game, and you've already seen it throwing the football. The guy already has over 200 yards passing, but he's doing it in the running game as well. Really good decision that time. Seeing nobody accounting for the pitch guy, you flip it out, you pick up a nice play offensively. Really good football.
Found the seam on the left. They got him free for a big gainer to the 43.
You can tell this quarterback did his homework coming into this game. He has been dissecting this defense with his arm and his mind. Over 300 yards passing now.
Back in motion, trying to clear the picture. Looking deep down the right side. Grabs it inside the 10. They get him stopped at the 5-yard line, but it will be 1st and goal from there. And another big play by this offense, and if they are playing, not thinking about the scoreboard at all, there's evidence of it right there.
Hey, if there's time on the clock, as a defense, stop us. Because we're not stopping ourselves. We're going to continue being aggressive. We're going to continue trying to score points. That's the aggressive nature of this football team.
And he runs it in for the score. Touchdown, James Madison.
And with that score, you start to get excited because you can feel the momentum starting off 2-0. I mean, you got to finish this one off, but there's a great chance you're going to. But this season has started just like you've wanted it to. Now just keep climbing. See how high we can get in these rankings.
And he puts through the extra point. Kickoff unit getting some extra work as this lead has really grown. On the run from inside his own 5. Not a lot of space to be found. Good hustle by the coverage team, and they stop him at the 21. They come to the line for the first play of the drive, snapping him from the 21. Looking downfield, it's Sayin. Quarterback moving. Gets rid of it. Catch in the middle, it's Ross. That one could really put this drive into high gear as they have a first down at the 37. Clock is still running, and they have to get everybody lined up. To the air on first down. Nearly another interception. It'll be second down.
And this defense has put a game together. Like, it is hard to put all the facets of defense together. Run defense, pass defense. They've been so good, man. Dialed in. You could tell they were ready. They were fast.
Oh, he's got some space. They'll get him down, but not before he crosses the 50. He's down to the 49. Stanford quickly to the line. Looking to throw on first down. Fires to the wideout. Pass is incomplete, and by this stage of his career, you'd think a junior quarterback might take a little better care of the football.
You got to love what you've seen from the defense in this game, too. They knew coming into this one against this quarterback, being as talented as he is, they were going to have to be really good in coverage on the back end, and that
makes 5 interceptions in this one. The nightmare is alive. Nice pickup on the return, but more important, they got the takeaway, and now they're in business.
And some guys just have a knack of finding the football, and he is one of them. Like, you can just tell when the ball's in the air, he's like, that is mine. His second big game-changing play.
Strong pass rush gets to the quarterback, and they get him at the 46.
Second down coming up.
Okay, ready? Well, this was an offensive showcase out there today. We thought it would be a high-scoring game, and it certainly delivered.
if you love offense, then you love this type of game. Both offenses going up and down the field. Seemingly it will. Throwing the ball, running the ball. But, David, I feel like if you're a fan of defense, maybe this wasn't your cup of tea.
More defense optional. You didn't really get too much of that stuff, but, listen, you got to get a few stops late in the game. You got to get actually just kind of one stop with this many points that was being scored. You got the stop late. That's why you got the dub.
That's going to do it from here. For David Pollack and Jesse Palmer, I'm Reese Davis, and you've been watching another presentation of EA Sports College Football.